first snake I have for you guys here is a harmless variety native to Central and South America known as the yellow-tailed crebo. To those of you who are unfamiliar with snakes, they often appear cold or slimy. Like all reptiles, they are cold-blooded, but this only means that he's going to be the same temperature as his surroundings, not that he is always cold. As for him being slimy, there's really no reason for him to be, so he's not. Some snakes do have smooth, shiny scales that at a distance may appear slimy, while others actually have large ridges down the center of their scales that's going to make them quite abrasive to the touch. You may have noticed him sticking that forked tongue out at you. This is not him being rude, this is just him simply smelling his environment. Snakes and some lizards are going to use that forked tongue to pick up particles in the air, bring them back into the mouth to a special organ known as the Jacobson's organ located on the upper jaw. This sense of smell is going to be the single most important sense to a snake, especially when it comes to identifying prey. Just to show you how important this sense of smell is, I have a little funny story for you. A few years ago, one of our staff members happened to spill a bucket of fish he was feeding to some snakes upstairs in the dome. Of course, went through, cleaned it up, didn't think much else of it, came back the next day and that snake had its mouth pressed flat against the floor. He was trying to swallow his own enclosure. Luckily for us, he was a quick thinking keeper and managed to stop that snake before he swallowed the entire dome. Kind of cheesy, I know. So, obviously, if it smells like fish, then it must be fish. Now, these yellow-tailed crebos and many other snakes are going to simply grab whatever they intend to eat and swallow it while it is still alive. While this does ensure a fresh meal, it has its drawbacks. It is possible that whatever that snake is attempting to swallow is going to object to being swallowed, possibly finally so, leading to injury or even death for that snake. Much more efficient would be to kill whatever you intend to eat before you actually eat it. At least most snakes feel this way. Alright, so when many people see the snake, they immediately think of something like a boa constrictor, when in fact this is the Burmese python. These snakes, while they are a large snake, it is not one of the largest snakes in the world. In fact, the largest snakes in the world are going to be your anaconda of South America, growing 25 feet and weighing in excess of 300 pounds, and your reticulated python of tropical Asia, growing a potential 30 feet in length. And these snakes are non-venomous, so they're going to use constriction to kill their prey. So what he's going to do is strike, bite, grab onto that animal, and in a blur motion, wrap coils around that animal and begin to squeeze. He squeezes with such force that the animal has no room to breathe, has a drop in blood pressure, and he squeezes that chest cavity to such an extent that that animal's heart no longer has room to beat, leading to a very rapid death of that animal. Yeah. After that animal's dead comes the task of swallowing it. Because snakes have curved teeth sort of towards the back of their mouth and have no limbs, you're going back and forth. They cannot bite or tear off chunks like we do. Instead, what they're going to do is swallow their prey whole. But this is not the limitation it seems to be. Snakes have no chin, meaning their two lower jaw bones aren't connected. So the only limitation to how wide they can open their mouth is how far their skin will stretch.
Somebody else smells like fish too.
I'm kidding, right? Alright, so because their two lower jaw bones aren't connected, and the only limitation to how wide they can open their mouths is how far their skin will stretch, these guys can swallow things several times their own diameter. So constriction is not limited to just the big snakes of the world. In fact, 50% of all snakes are going to use constriction to kill their prey, including our native bull snake. Now, while constriction is very efficient, obviously the use of venom would be much more efficient. Because constriction requires that prolonged physical contact that again can be dangerous for the snake, use of venom is often going to require little physical contact, be much safer for that snake. When talking about venomous snakes, they can be divided into three main groups. First group we're going to talk about is the rear fang snakes that have large teeth in the back of their mouth. The other two are going to be your more typical snakes with fangs in the front of their mouth. Alright, so this guy here is known as a mangrove snake, and he belongs to that first group known as the rear fang snakes. Now he does not truly have the ability to inject with venom. Instead, he has enlarged teeth in the back of his mouth with channels or grooves. So what he's going to do is strike, bite onto his prey, and work that animal towards the back of his mouth. Allow the venom to run out of the gland, down these channels or grooves, and then into the wound. It is easy to imagine how the system developed when you look at even the most toxic forms of venom or only modified forms of saliva. It is possible that early snakes used this system to deliver saliva into the prey to aid in digestion, but then later developed toxins to aid in killing the prey as well. Because of this inefficient fang system, many of these rear-fanged snakes are going to be also using constriction to kill their prey. They're also going to be, for the most part, harmless to a creature of size, but this does have exceptions. The Savannah vine snake and the boomslang have both been known to cause human fatalities. In fact, the boomslang actually has one of the most toxic venoms in the world. Yeah, you go. Not what my snake coat was intended to use for.
Oh.
Come on. Oh, my snake hook back. No? You want to keep the snake hook?
No.
Yes, you can't go in. I know. But I need this because I showed it to you. Thank you. All right. So even more efficient than these rear fang snakes is with groups known as the front fang snakes. These front fang snakes can be divided into two main groups. First group is known as the elapids. The elapids have permanently erect fangs right in the front of their mouth. This is going to include your things like cobras, taipans, coral snakes, and mambas. Instead of using that simple channel or groove system, their teeth are actually hollow, connected to a venom ducting gland. So when the muscle above the venom gland compresses, it allows these teeth to act as if they are hypodermic needles. Even more efficient than these elapids is with the group known as the vipers. Alright, so this is a snake many of you may have heard of before. He's known as a cottonmouth, also known as a water moccasin. He's found in the southeastern part of the United States. This guy is a viper, and like all vipers, he has extremely long fangs. So long, in fact, that if they were permanently erect like those elapids, his fangs would stick right through the bottom of his mouth. Instead, when his fangs aren't used, they're going to fold up towards the roof of his mouth. Well, these snakes have the ability to open their mouths nearly 180 degrees, allowing them to stick their fangs almost directly out in front of them. So when they strike, they just have to simply come in contact with that animal, and the venom is injected. Obviously, this is the maximum amount of efficiency mixed with the minimum amount of risk for that snake because he has that little physical contact with that animal. When talking about venomous snakes out here, we are often asked, what is the deadliest snake in the world? That's a good question. We don't know. And that all depends on how you mean this question. Does one mean the snake that actually bites and kills the most people each year, or the snake with the most toxic venom? From the information available to us, the snake with the most toxic venom is known as an inland taipan. It lives in a very remote central part of Australia, rarely comes in contact with humans, and in fact actually only has one recorded human fatality. If you mean the snake that actually bites and kills the most people, that snake's a lot more fun to show you. Alright, so by this definition, this is going to be the most common snake in the most densely populated part of the world, where medical attention is not readily available. People are often barefoot, wearing shorts, things like that. He is known as the monocle cobra, also known as the Asiatic cobra. Let's see if we can grab your attention a little bit. Maybe? No? Alright. When many people see these snakes, they immediately think of something like a snake charmer playing the flute, the snake moving side to side with the beat of the music. Cobras, like all snakes, actually have no external ears, meaning they are not listening to the music at all, but instead mimicking the movements of the snake charmer from side to side. So, probably the most distinct characteristic about these cobras is that hood. His hood is created by him erecting elongated ribs in his neck, He's going to assume this position when he feels scared or threatened. He's going to do it to make himself look bigger and more intimidating. If you ask me, I feel like it's pretty effective. When he's relaxed, those ribs are going to lay flat against his neck, and he's going to appear no more excited than that Crebo we saw earlier. Now, because they sit in that hooded position, the strike of the cobra is relatively slow because it's a forward and downward motion, meaning an alert person could actually come up here, get within striking distance of the snake, allow the snake to strike, and safely avoid being bitten. That's you. No? I don't blame you. If we were going to attempt this same demonstration with something like a rattlesnake, we would also have to demonstrate first aid for a snake bite because rattlesnakes have one of the fastest strikes of any snake. So go ahead and draw this down. When it comes to identifying the difference between a venomous and a non-venomous snake, many people will point out characteristics such as these vertical pupils like you see in that picture, or more of a triangular shaped head. There's actually an issue with both of these. One, if you're close enough to see the shape of a snake's pupil, you're way too close to that snake. Also, you can find both venomous and non-venomous snakes with many of these characteristics. The only way you're going to be able to tell the difference between a venomous and a non-venomous snake is if you're going to catch that snake, open up its mouth, and look for a venom apparatus. Or you could just go ahead and let that snake bite you. That I wouldn't recommend. Much safer would just be to research whatever venomous snakes live in your area wherever you plan to visit. So out here in the hills, we have one type of venomous snake. So out here in the hills, we have one venomous snake, and this guy is known as a prairie rattlesnake. He's a very common snake out here, but he's very secretive. In fact, many people can go their entire lives out here and never see one. As you can see, he's a very happy snake. He's wagging his tail for us a little bit. He's a viper. Yeah, he's a viper like that other snake, like the cottonmouth we saw earlier. Probably the most distinguishable characteristic about these snakes is that tail appendage. Many people, when they count the snakes on his tail, are going to assume you can find out a rattlesnake's age. Actually, these snakes are going to add a new segment to that tail each time he sheds his skin. He's going to shed his skin from 1 to 6 or even up to 10 times per year. So the only way to actually tell a rattlesnake's true age is if you're going to know that snake's birthday. Yeah, you like me, don't you? All right. So these snakes live in a very different sensory world than us. They have eyes and can watch us. They smell with their tongues. They actually have no external ears. These guys are part of a very distinct group known as the pit vipers. They actually have a heat-sensing pit located between their eyes and their nostril that allows them to pick up very small differences in heat around them, allowing them to accurately locate and strike warm-blooded prey using only this sense.
What's their striking distance?
You'll generally see about 2/3 their body length. We usually keep about a snake hooks distance away. That assures that we won't get bit. Yeah, they're usually going to strike about 2/3 that body length. His defensive strike is going to be a little shorter just because he wants you to back up. But
like that?
as you saw, right there. All right, so again, what? Can you repeat that?
Yeah.
You might get another one here. So does anyone know what to do if you were to hear that rattle sound out in the wild?
Run?
Right, most people are going to just take a lead. Right. So while he does stand out on this white floor, his camouflage is going to be very effective out in the wild, and the acoustics of his rattle are going to make it kind of hard for you to tell where that snake is. So the smart move is to not move. If you were to run, you might run right into that snake, and you and the snake don't want that. So the smart move is to freeze, locate that snake, and move in the opposite direction. These snakes actually do us a great service out here, eating many rodents, and they play a role in the natural scheme of things. Say you're going to attempt to capture and kill these snakes, like many people out here will hear. Don't blame the snake for what's about to happen next. More people are bitten every year by these snakes, trying to capture and kill them, than simply just leaving them alone. Like I said, they do play a very important role in the natural scheme of things, eating many rodents and stuff like that. This is the last snake I have for you guys. If you have any questions, please feel free to stick around. Me and my friend Ryan out there will be here to answer some questions. You can get a closer picture. Other than that, you guys have a wonderful rest of your day. Thanks for coming out today.
Thank you.
It's way It's not nice. Yes, we can go back. I want to go shopping. See if they'll let me.
I want a drink. I want, but she wants to go back up to the place where I saw her. We're going upstairs because we didn't look at all the things.
Jen, it's okay. He'll make sure he doesn't punch you.
Jen, I dare you to go pet it.
Just pet it, Jen.